Welcome to Daska Discusses, the top 10 most anticipated movies of 2019.
Hey guys, welcome back to Daska Discusses. I'm your host Daska. Today we're going to talk about the top 10 most anticipated films of 2019. Let's do this. Number 10. It Chapter 2. Yes, you remember that from a couple of years ago, and I remember it from back in the 90s when I was scared of Tim Curry in that and also in Home Alone 2. But I gotta say, looking forward to this. It's gonna be very interesting. I remember as a kid reading the book and watching the TV movie for it. It's gonna be interesting how they do this. The cast for the adults is looking pretty good too, so this is definitely on my list for 2019. Comes out around September-ish. So Skarsgård, It, clowns, scary stuff happening. Mixture of the Goonies, mixture of Stranger Things. I'm looking forward to this one. Can't wait to see what they're going to do, how they're going to end this film. And who could not forget Skarsgård's performance as Pennywise the Clown with his whole "They all float down here, Georgie." Number 9, yes, I know it's been done after death and we've had Creed 2 and everything like that, but Rambo V Stallone playing John Rambo, potentially they reckon for the last time, is definitely on my list for 2019. Mainly because what? I'm a huge fan of the genre. Gotta love the Rambo, gotta love Rocky films, gotta love Schwarzenegger films as well. Big fan. What are they gonna do with it? I've heard it's something about the Mexican cartel. Something's gonna happen with that. He's gonna go help he's gonna save someone from kidnapping, etc. I'm not sure. On IMDb though, there was an interesting photo that came out of, don't know what they're gonna do with this. There was a guy dressed, he looked identical to John Rambo from First Blood. If you have a look at this image here, you'll see maybe they're gonna have a flashback in this. I don't know how they're gonna end Rambo 5, it's gonna be very interesting, but he could end up killed off screen, or he could just come out to the camera and go, "I've heard these movies are gonna end, so I'm gonna just die or something. Live for nothing or die for something." Number 8. Sometimes dead is better. Never forget Pet Sematary as a kid reading it as well. Another Stephen King film in my top 10, but look, I know it's a remake. I know people aren't fond of remakes. I'm not. I was a big fan of It, remember, but what they're going to do with this, John Lithgow in it as well as one of the key characters, I think they could do a good job. The trailer looked pretty good. The book itself is quite dark, and the original, I remember I was a huge fan of that and quite scared of it in some parts. But what they're going to do with this remake, I'm very interested in what they're going to do. The trailer looks fascinating, and there's some things I think they're going to add in it that aren't in the book as well. Are they going to take that more darker tone like they did in the novel as well? Look, we'll see what happens. But Pet Sematary, definitely on my in my top 10 at number 8. It's going to be quite creepy, and well, we'll just see what happens. Sometimes dead is better. Number 7, Quentin Tarantino, Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio. Wow, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Now, huge Tarantino fan. I remember as a kid, Pulp Fiction came out when I was about 12 years old, and I went to the library and I read the script because I wasn't allowed to watch the film, and then when I finally got my hands on the VHS about a year later, fell in love with Tarantino, Inglourious Basterds, Pulp Fiction, Kill Bill 1 and 2. Reservoir Dogs, in my opinion, is probably, I think, his greatest film. We'll get to that another time about Tarantino films, but with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, apparently it's about the Manson murders around in the 60s. I don't know what Brad Pitt, what he's going to take, Leonardo DiCaprio. It's going to be very, very interesting. Going by previous Tarantino films, well, with the violence you know what to expect, but storytelling wise, I'm a big Tarantino fan. The way he structures his stories, we all know that, we're all fond of it. I'm looking forward to this one, big time. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, number 7 on my list. Number 6, The Irishman. Scorsese, De Niro, Pesci, wow, all three together in one film. Imagine Pacino on set will be like, "I'm Al Pacino, finally making a movie with Scorsese, De Niro, and Pesci. This is gonna be good, or it's gonna be total crap. We'll see what happens." Maybe it wasn't the best impersonation, we'll see. But The Irishman, heard it's gonna be a Netflix original, not sure yet, we'll have to have a look at that, but Scorsese, Pesci, De Niro, and Pacino in this. All about Jimmy Hoffa and his body and what happened with that as well. Good gangster film. We haven't seen this since, I guess you could say, Goodfellas, Casino. It's going to be epic. I'm a huge Scorsese fan. My favourite Scorsese film is probably, it's a mixture between Taxi Driver, Goodfellas, Cape Fear. you know what, let's just keep going, there's so many more. But The Irishman is definitely number 6 on my list for 2019. I can't wait for it. And neither can Al. Or neither can Scorsese. Number 5. Joaquin Phoenix, The Joker. Not Joker vs. Batman, not Suicide Squad, nothing. This is going to be completely different. No Heath Ledger, Joaquin Phoenix, The Joker. A gangster film, I think it will be. Maybe a bit of Batman, who knows. Maybe they'll have some other arch enemy in there for him from the comic books. I'm looking forward to Joaquin playing this. I think he'll do a great job. Always love Gladiator, come on. But who can forget Heath Ledger with his, I got these scars. Yeah, we'll go through the Dark Knight trilogy another time, but Joaquin, number 5, 2019, The Joker's going to be epic. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, we'll see what they do with that. Number 4, Jordan Peele, mate, Get Out a few years ago, everyone. That was a huge hit. Everyone loved it. I thought it was okay as well. Great film, great thriller, great creepy kind of drama. Us, by looking at the trailer, looks very interesting as well. In terms of the themes and the symbolism, yes, I know there's plenty of videos on YouTube that things you may have missed in the trailer. I'm not going to go through that. I'm just going to look at what I think it could be. I think it could be something brilliant, but I hope it doesn't fall into the whole cheesy, creepy, kind of cliche type of film. I don't think it will be, because Jordan Peele did a great job on Get Out, but Us looks very interesting. How the whole family traveling, and then all of a sudden there's someone outside and it's like, who is it? It's us. What are they going to do with it? I don't know. Like I said, it won't just be a clear-cut narrative. There'll be some sort of major twist at the end that we haven't seen coming. With Get Out, same kind of thing. It'll be in the same kind of narrative as that. So that is my number 4, Us. Number 3. Nazi Benya Babagaritsi, you ain't never had a friend like me. I can't split Aladdin and The Lion King. Live action films. Everyone loves Disney, right? Everyone loves Marvel, apart from me. What did I say? No. Look, it's going to be interesting how they're going to do Aladdin and The Lion King, and Dumbo as well. I didn't put this on my list, but it's an honourable mention. I think I'm more looking forward to The Lion King, because I think it's obviously, they're both timeless classics. I can't split Lion King and Aladdin. Will Smith playing the genie obviously is not going to be as good as Robin Williams, we all know that. But what they're going to do with these Disney with the live action is going to be very interesting. How they're going to mix CG with live action in Aladdin, especially specifically. In The Lion King, having James Earl Jones as Mufasa has got my tick of approval. Definitely going to go watch both of these, probably with my nieces and nephews. It's a kids film, but all the adults out there that grew up, and I grew up in the 90s, definitely going to go watch this. I don't know about watching Mufasa die again. Can't do it. Anyway, that's my number 3. Lion King and Aladdin, can't separate them. You ain't never had a friend like me. Number 2. You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. Toy Story 4. Now, Pixar, the first, I guess you could say the first film, or the first computer-generated film, animation film they made was Toy Story. It holds a special place in a lot of people's hearts who grew up in the 90s as well. Again, like Aladdin and Lion King, but Toy Story 3, we thought it was all going to end there with them going into the furnace, and it was quite emotional. But with Toy Story 4, where they're going to go with it? I think with this story, what they're going to do is basically maybe, we know Andy's up to college. Maybe he ends up at college. Is that too cliche and he gets lost? Let's hope it's not something as simple as that. Let's hope we have other newer characters, which I think the trailer did portray a few newer characters. We'll see how we go with that. Toy Story 4, my number 2 for the year. Definitely can't wait for that. And now for my number 1. Yep, you know what it is. Star Wars Episode 9. Wowee, we can talk all night. I can talk all night about The Last Jedi and what I thought of it. I'll keep that for another video, okay? I'll keep it for another upload. Empire Strikes Back is my favourite film of all time. Now, I could go on and on about how disappointed I was in The Last Jedi and all the, there's so much hate for it as well. And The Force Awakens. Now, like I said, I grew up in the 90s. I was born in the 80s, grew up in the 90s. I grew up with the OT, the original trilogy. And I'm talking about the proper original trilogy where Han shot first. What are they going to do with Episode 9? I do worry, for the sake of the Star Wars legacy, what they're going to do. I know J.J. Abrams is taking the reins again. How they're going to do it? Is Snoke going to come back? My theory, look, there's so many theories out there, I'm not going to get into it. Very quickly, I think Snoke will be back somehow. He'll rejuvenate, he'll end up being Darth Plagueis, like everyone says. I think Kylo Ren will be back as evil as Darth Vader. Rey will save the day, Luke will come back as the Force Ghost, Yoda may even come back. Who knows what's going to happen? Will Carrie Fisher's legacy be, will they do a good job with that in this film as well? I've heard they're going to use a lot of footage that they haven't taken as well, so that should be interesting as well. Look, it is my number one anticipated film. It's coming out in December. I am very wary of it, but we'll just have to wait and see what J.J. Abrams does and where this takes us, because I think this is make or break for the Star Wars universe. If you don't agree, that's fine, guys. You can comment below and we can discuss it. That's why we're here. So that was my number one for 2019, Star Wars Episode 9. Who knows what they're going to call it? Revenge of the Jawas? Well guys, that was Daska Discusses, another episode done, my top 10 most anticipated films of 2019. So I hope you enjoyed it. Just want to thank my nieces and nephew for holding the lights and the camera for this video. They're only little kids, so I didn't want to put them in there. Let me know what you thought about my top 10. Leave a comment below, and as always, if you like what you've seen, guys, don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe. I'll be here, and I'll see you next time on the next episode of Daska Discusses. Boom!